Raiders mock draft after the Maxx Crosby trade. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to do a full 7-round mock draft using PFF's mock draft simulator after the Maxx Crosby trade. Now, typically when I do mocks, obviously I have all my graphics from the Chat Sports Studios, but it was a late night last night breaking down the news. If you didn't see, if you live underneath a rock, if you're not subscribed to the Raiders Report, the Las Vegas Raiders traded Maxx Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks, number 14 overall in this year's draft, and then a first-round pick in next year's draft. So essentially, what I wanted to be able to do today is just give you guys an idea of what type of mock draft I'm going to end up running here, and obviously you can go in a multitude of different ways. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to tell you who I decided to go with. I'm going to tell you which players are going to be available, give you a little analysis on each one of those guys, and ultimately tell you why I decided to go that route. Now, if you were a part of the craziness last night, shout out to all of y'all. You're the definition of a real one. If you want more Raiders mock drafts, hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for a crazy free agency, if you're looking for a crazy offseason, you should definitely be a Raiders fan. But I promise y'all this, free agency, the draft, lots and lots of content. I know losing Maxx Crosby does hurt, no doubt about it. But I also think we can look at ourselves and go, this is going to be one of the most entertaining, unbelievable off seasons of all time. And if you're trying to rebuild, I think what the Raiders did yesterday is a winning type of move. I messaged Max yesterday. He messaged me this morning, and essentially it was like he appreciates Raider Nation. He appreciates what the Raiders Report is. He appreciates, what I've done, but Max seems to be in good spirits. So, I don't know, made it a little bit easier, I guess, to make this mock draft. So, let's go through here. If you don't know who the updated picks are for the Silver and Black, we now have 2 first-round picks. Pick number 1, pick 14, pick 36 in the second round, pick 67 in the third, 3 fourth-round picks, 102, 117, 134, a fifth-round pick at 175, 6 at 182, 185, and then a seventh-round pick at 218. So let's first start this bad boy off with the first pick in my brand new Raiders mock draft after the Maxx Crosby trade. The Las Vegas Raiders select, shocking, Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall. He's going to be the new face of your franchise. He is what I believe a franchise quarterback does truly look like. The leadership on and off the field. I've been able to meet Mendoza. I've been able to shake his hand. I've been able to ask him questions at the NFL Combine. I am sold on what he brings to the table from a quarterback standpoint. Elite accuracy. I think he's going to be able to fit great in a Klint Kubiak offense. I know there's some rumors, there's some speculation. Could the Raiders add a veteran quarterback? Yeah, they absolutely positively could add a veteran. But if it's up to me, and if you handle free agency the way that you're supposed to, and what I mean by that, you better find somebody on that offensive line, because we should be around $128 million of salary cap space. The reason why that I got to that number, we had $88 million before yesterday. You cleared $43 million with Geno Smith, Alex Kappa, Maxx Crosby trade. You tendered 3 players, probably going to be around $3 million. The math ends up being somewhere around $128 million. In my mind, we better have gotten a Tyler frickin' Linderbaum. We better have gotten a guy like Alec Pierce, because those are the types of moves, or if you don't get a Pierce, maybe a Romeo Doubs is another option. I put out some videos already on the channel, top offensive lineman, top wide receiver prospects that I want the Raiders to target. But I'm a big focus on the offense and free agency. That way when you draft Fernando Mendoza, you're putting him in the best situation possible for him to succeed right away. Let's now go to pick number 14, but I wanted to at least be able to tell y'all what the other picks were leading up to that. The New York Jets, they took apparently Ruben Bain at number 2. Cardinals went Francis Mauigoa. Titans at number 4 went Jeremiah Love. Giants, Arvell Reese, crazy value there. Sonny Styles goes to number 6. David Bailey, Commanders at 7. Caleb Downs to the Saints at 8. Dylan Theneman, safety from Oregon, hearing a lot of good stuff. Chiefs at 9. Carnell Tate at Ohio State. Out of Ohio State goes to 10 to the Bengals. Spencer Fanu, Dolphins at 11. Kenyon Sadiq, Cowboys. Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU. So then where would you guys go? Because obviously this is probably one of the big things why people clicked on today's show is they want to know, like, who the hell did I take at 14? And as a Raiders fan, like, I want to know some of the top targets at pick number 14. So I want y'all to go down in the comments section. Let me know. I am going to try to get you guys another video today. Today's an off day for Chat Sports. I am trying to get somebody to, like, help me build and make a top 14 prospects, because in my mind, I didn't want to do my top players to target at 14 without graphics and a mock draft without graphics, but if it is what it is, I might just have to do it. No matter what, though, you will get top 14 prospect targets. It might just be tomorrow with a whole bunch of more graphics. It also gives me a little bit more time to take a deep dive. But let me know down below, who should the Raiders take at pick number 14? My answer is going to be coming up here right after this YouTube ad break. With the pick that the Raiders used in the Maxx Crosby trade, I'm going to butcher this name, but he's a Penn State guard, and I decided to go with Olaivavega Ioane. And again, I have no idea if I pronounced that name right. I am a Penn State guy, so I'm kind of embarrassed that I'm not going to get it right. If you don't know who this is, okay, the name is spelled Olaivavega. People call him Vega. I do know that that's his nickname. He's a left guard for Penn State, and I was actually kind of surprised that I decided to go this route with an offensive lineman, because I'm big like, you know, if we go offensive heavy in free agency, maybe we shouldn't go as offensive heavy in the NFL draft. But in my mind, you know, let's say we go out and we get a Tyler Linderbaum. Like, if you had Colton Miller, Vega, Tyler Linderbaum, JPJ, you can figure out that right tackle spot. That's one of the best young offensive line in the NFL to help Fernando Mendoza, but also really importantly to help get this ground game going with Ashton Jeanty. So according to Lance Zierlein, this is his overall aspect of what he thinks of the player. Prototypical guard for physical run schemes with thick limbs, broad frame, plus core strength. Vega plays with excellent contact balance, technique on both base blocks and double teams, uses his hips and hands for leverage and displacement when driving blocks. However, might lack a little bit of athleticism on the foot quickness to operate effectively as a move blocker. He pass sets with good posture and firm punch, can anchor against power, though quicker and lighter weight in 2025. Might struggle with twitchy interior defenders who cross his face in the run game and attacks his edges protection. Despite scheme dependence, Vega projects as an early starter with high floor. This is one of the top prospects that I started hearing about at the NFL Combine. I know Tom absolutely loves him, and there's a lot of people that think that he is the top interior offensive lineman in the draft. So this could be one of those moves, like if the Raiders don't get Tyler Linderbaum, maybe they go this route. I'm just at the point where I saw how last season went, and I believe in Mendoza, I believe in Jeanty, I believe in Brock Bowers, and I believe in this Klint Kubiak offense. I'm just not going to take excuses for the offensive line to not be great. So for that reason, I'm going to end up going here with Vega out of Penn State. Let's keep this mock draft moving here. And in round 2, pick 36. This is where, again, there's a lot of different options there. I thought about going with KC Concepcion, but my heart told me this. I'm a believer that when you win in the trenches, that you're going to be able to succeed in the NFL. I'm also a believer that, you know what, man, moving on from Maxx Crosby, we better figure out a way to win at the point of attack. So because the Raiders decided to move on from Maxx, that money that you're saving, I personally think that you got to invest that money into go out and getting a Maxx replacement in free agency, whether that is a Khalil Mack, whether that is a Jadeveon Clowney, whether that is a Odafe Owe, a Jalen Phillips, a Boye Mafe, whoever that might be. And if you guys haven't seen, I've already put out 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago at this point, Maxx Crosby replacements on the Raiders report. So go check it out. Like, to me, you got to add one of those guys, potentially 2 to 3 of those players out there. I also have linebacker targets, which I would recommend anybody to go out there check as well. But like, I decided to go with defensive tackle from Texas Tech, Lee Hunter. The Raiders met with Hunter at the Combine, and from just being in the same room with him, he's you could just tell he's like such a cool dude. Hey, he was one of the top pressers out there. Everybody that I talked to from the Combine really enjoyed their time with him. Now, if you're going to look at, the testing isn't all that great, but what I think that the Raiders really truly need is a dominant run-stopping defensive tackle. And a 3-4 front, like that to me makes a lot of sense. So again, in my mind, we got an Olaivavega Ioane, we got a Jalen Phillips, we got a Boye Mafe. We went out in free agency and we added some players to help get after the quarterback. So now let's figure out a way to make sure that 3-4 defensive tackle who's in the middle is eating up a lot of space. And that's exactly what Lee Hunter's going to be able to do here for you. 6'3", 320 pounds. Really good production last year at Texas Tech. And according to Zerloin, Hunter is a two-gapping nose tackle for odd or even fronts. He has the size, strength, and length to do the battle in the heart of the trenches, but requires better block take-on technique to set firmer in his grasp. He won't win in the gaps, but he can stack and shed single blocks or slide and stabilize his run fit against zone blocks. Hunter's girth and length are advantages when aligning over the center as a run defender, which is what I want the Raiders really to have. Doesn't have enough quickness or skill as a rusher to see many passing downs, but he can dent the pocket with power. Hunter projects as an early down space eater who can make interior offensive linemen work for their gaps. Because the Raiders really only have Adam Butler, I think also having a move like this kind of allows Tyree Wilson also to play kind of on that edge defensive end, potentially even an outside linebacker role, which I think Tyree Wilson could be a very intriguing player in this new 3-4 system. But put Lee Hunter in the middle. You got Tonka Hemingway. You got J.J. Pegues. I think by going out and doing this move, Lee Hunter instantly turns into your other best defensive tackle next to Adam Butler. And that's what we need. You got John Olalu. I'm hoping that the Raiders figure out a way to tender or essentially bring back Thomas Booker. It's probably, if you do it, I think it costs like $3.5 million. But the interior of this Raiders defensive line, it's weak. And I think Lee Hunter does help you just bolster that D-line. Again, you're not going to be able to replace Maxx Crosby. 1-for-1 is not going to happen. But the way that I hope Raiders fans look at that Maxx Crosby trade is, I hope that you look at it as, one Maxx Crosby. Can I turn that into 4 to 5 different starters? And I believe that Lee Hunter, yes, does not play edge, does not play defensive end, but that's one of those guys that will help you ultimately try to replace Maxx Crosby. All right, so that was round 2, pick 36. So far I got Fernando Mendoza, Vega from Penn State, the offensive guard, and I got Lee Hunter on the trenches. I believe in building the trenches. So now we go to round 3, pick 67, and this is slowly turning into one of my favorite prospects, probably one of the top climbers for us at Chat Sports. Tom Downey is very, very high on him, and you guys know, I think Tom Downey here at Chat Sports is one of the best in the biz in terms of NFL draft content. The amount of time, homework that he does, it's disgusting, quite frankly. Tom, go pay attention to your wife and kids. No, I'm kidding. He's an amazing dad, amazing husband. I love Tom. Tom's always been an OG. He's been the longest tenured Chat Sports employee outside of me, so he's even got more years than me. He knows I love him. But Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker from Texas. This is somebody that I actually think, I'll tell you this right now, I think he's going to be a top 50 pick overall, and it's because what he was able to do at the combine. He's just an athletic specimen at linebacker. Ran a 4.51 40-yard dash, 37-inch vertical jump, the broad jump. I mean, the 10-yard split. There's a lot of really good numbers in there. His NFL comp, Bobby Wagner. And that's a big comp. 3-down linebacker. And because we're going to go 3-4, I think you need to be able to find somebody like this. And I'm telling you this right now, Anthony Hill Jr. is going to be an outstanding linebacker in the National Football League. 3-down linebacker. Again, all the write-ups that you're going to hear me say are all from NFL.com's Lance Zerloin. If you guys know I suck at reading, so if you hear me say player's name, if you want to pull that guy's NFL profile up on NFL.com, you can do it because that's where I'm reading. 3-down linebacker with the playing demeanor and production of a future Pro Bowler. He posted 31.5 tackles for losses, 17 sacks, 8 forced fumbles in his 3 seasons at Texas, making him an impact player in every phase. He's instinctive, athletic, and under control, transitioning seamlessly from read to react to finish. He plays with downhill thump to thwart. I don't even know if that's a word. Thwart, thwart. Interior blocks, and the speed to pursue runners from sideline to sideline. Hill has plus cover talent and man or zone, proven credentials as a blitzer or edge rusher, and finishes plays as a strong, reliable tackler. Consistency, a field command make him one of the safer linebackers in this class. His size, speed, versatility allow him to profile as an instant impact rookie at Mike or will linebacker. I think because you have a little bit of that versatility, if the Raiders go out and they get a Tremaine Edmonds, you can add a player like this. If the Raiders go out and they get more of, maybe it's a Devin Bush, you can go out and get this route. Devin Lloyd, like pairing Devin Lloyd and Anthony Hill Jr., did you feel that? Did you feel that movement down below? I'm telling you right now, if you haven't watched the tape on Anthony Hill Jr., he is one of the fastest growing in terms of stock rising from the NFL Combine. Just from being around there that week, I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be a really good instant impact player. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, we're going to get into our day 3 picks. So that's rounds 4 to 7. A lot of picks here in this range. If you don't already know, we just launched a brand new store here at the Raiders Report. The link's chatsports.com/RR shop. I'm going to put it for you guys down in the comments. It's going to be in the description. I'll also probably put it underneath like the pinned comment on today's show. If you want a Raiders Report hat, they're $24.99. If you want a Raiders Report shirt, they're $24.99. We did a deal last night, and I'm pretty sure it's probably still running. If you put the hat and the shirt in the cart, it's going to be $10 off. At the end of the day, man, I want to continue to grow this community. I know I keep saying it over and over, but I do believe if Raider fans out there saw Raiders Report hat, Raiders Report t-shirt, hope that you guys go up to each other and hope that you introduce yourself. So there's also tons of other memorabilia. To anybody that bought a weird Kubiak shirt with Crosby on it, we're going to work on a deal to be able to get you guys something new. Obviously, it's unfortunate, but yeah, when we made the Kubiak shirts, we didn't think Maxx Crosby was going to get traded. And that's the NFL. It's the business. It is what it is. But if you want some Raiders Report gear, chatsports.com/RR shop. That link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments and down in the description on today's program. All right, let's go now to round 4. And what we're going to end up doing here is we got plenty of picks here in the 4th round. So we're going to look at, that's hilarious. Sorry, one of the guys, I asked for a little bit of help like on our description. And the guy who said, yeah, I can help out. I mean, don't worry about it. Hang on, y'all. All right, let's keep it moving. Sorry. Shout out to everybody here at Chat Sports again. Late nights. If I sound tired, if I sound hungover, it's because I'm tired and it's because I'm hungover. But if anybody lives in the DFW in the Dallas area, I am going to go to a restaurant in Deep Ellum. It's owned by Obi. He's like a Raiders guy on social media. It's called Boil Daddy in Deep Ellum. Alex, my wife, she's out of town for a bachelorette, but me and Alex's mom are gonna go. We're gonna get some seafood. I've been on the clock with all this Crosby stuff. I finally feel like my mind, I can turn it off a little bit, and I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to take Alex's mom out to eat. So if anybody's in the DFW, Dallas area, and you want to join us, we'll probably be Boil Daddy, Deep Ellum at around 3 p.m. So, yep. Alex's sister might even be there too. We shall see. All right, let's keep this mock draft going. This is going to be a really, really long video. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Round 4, pick 102. I felt like I've seen this player fall down my boards over and over and over again. But I also am a believer, like, when the value's there, you got to be able to take him. And I just don't see this player being here in the 4th round. But I said, you know what? The Raiders traded away Maxx Crosby. Let's go get an edge here. And I decided to go with LT Overton, edge from Alabama. And Overton is a slow twitch end with impressive power and consistently rugged demeanor. He has long arms and plays with the anchor leverage that help him secure his gap. However, he rarely gains early positional advantages and isn't going to be a gap shooter. He lacks range of pursuit, won't threaten tacklers to the corner with his get-off as an edge rusher. Overton's play strength and leverage create power on the edge, but power won't trump production. Adding mass and moving inside to a 3 technique could be his best interest, which I think that's kind of an interesting analysis, because one of the things that the Raiders got to really figure out a way to do is they got to be able to figure out how to get that run production going, because when you lose Maxx, Maxx was probably a better run, not probably, I think he was a better run defending defensive end than he was actually at being able to get out and after the quarterback. But to me, when you have Overton, this is going to be another one of those players that you probably can put his hand in the dirt, and that's probably where he's just best suited, hand in the dirt. But I'm just adding a little bit of extra depth. Like, we got to be able to face the facts. If you look at our defensive end depth right now, if you look, I mean, it's not good. We got Tyree Wilson. It's probably our top edge, because Malcolm Kuntz in this defense would probably be a little bit more of an outside linebacker edge instead of a defensive end. But, I mean, dude, it's like Charles Snowden. It's Tyree Wilson. It's not a lot of good depth there, unfortunately, for the Las Vegas Raiders. So because of that, what I'm going to decide to do here is I'm going to go with LT Overton. Again, it's I don't love the player, but at pick 102, personally, I actually think it's really good value. You're getting somebody with a lot of experience, but like in a 3-4, again, man, like we're looking at Tyree Wilson, Tonka Hemingway. I think that Overton's probably in that Tonka Hemingway range where he's a defensive end, but maybe he's a little bit more suited to be DTs. He's a thicker boy, but extra talent there at the defensive end position. Let's go to pick 117 now, here in the 4th round. And I've taken this guy in a bunch of my mocks, but you know, I live down here in the Dallas DFW area. I've watched a little bit more Texas football. My wife, she's a Longhorn fan. But also, anytime I hear things about certain guys from the combine, and anytime I hear Tom or certain people talk about a certain player, I'm just a little bit more intrigued. So I'm going to go here with cornerback Malik Muhammad from Texas. This is another Texas guy. Ran a 4.42 40-yard dash, 39-inch vertical. Were tested out, I thought, pretty damn well at the combine. 6 foot, 182 pounds. Also, I don't know if I said how big Overton is. He's 6'3", 274. That was the last pick that I decided to go with here in this mock. But in terms of Malik Muhammad, here's the write-up from Zerloin. Muhammad has good coverage talent to offset his slender frame. He can man up from press or off, is a plus pattern matcher, staying in phase, shadowing breakpoints. He displays outstanding vision and adheres to his zone cover principles, allowing him to play with ideal efficiency on all 3 levels. He can get out-muscled by big, strong wideouts inside the route and at the catch point, but he doesn't give in and usually holds his own. He does a nice job of chopping pass catchers down in space, but a lack of play strength shows up on an occasional broken tackles. Muhammad has day 2 talent and starter-level ability, and we're able to get him here on day 3 with our 2nd pick in the 4th round. I think that this is a really good overall value. And again, to me, I look at somebody, hang on, I got to cough again. I look at somebody that can instantly help out our corners because, Eric Stokes is a free agent. I know that there's mutual interest. At the time I'm recording this video, Eric Stokes is a free agent. Obviously, we'll know whether or not he's a free agent going into the offseason. But, you also got Darnay Holmes. He's going to be a free agent. We need a lot of extra help in this secondary, and I think Malik Muhammad, low-key, is one of the better value corner picks here in the NFL draft. Let's go to round 4. Pick 134. If you don't know where we're at, we got Fernando Mendoza, Vega from Penn State, Lee Hunter, Texas Tech, Anthony Hill Jr., Texas, LT Overton, Alabama, Malik Muhammad, Texas. And now I'm going to keep it in the Texas area. And this was probably one of the more difficult picks for me. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go. I didn't love a lot of the value there. So I'm going to go with a player that I've never taken before. And after doing a quick little research on him, I went with a need that I know is very present for us now, and it's at the linebacker position. I went with Torian York, linebacker out of Texas A&M. A little bit short, stocky. Like in this realm, Anthony Hill Jr. would be our weak side linebacker, and then I would say Torian York would be probably a little bit more of your Mike linebacker in that situation. But then again, could probably also play weak side because the number one reason why I went this route, it's because of the NFL comp that Zerloin has here, and that's just me being 100% honest and transparent. I'm not going to act like I've watched all these guys tape in the last few hours. I got like 3 hours of sleep last night. The Chat Sports guys, they were watching the show. A few of the guys came over. 2 of them slept on the couch. They passed the F out. Chuck, we were hooping. We were balling. I think I went to bed probably at like 4:30. My alarm went off at 8:30, and I was like, oh, shit. I gotta get this video going. So 5'11", 226 pounds, Texas A&M, and the NFL comp is Ivan Pace. I don't know if y'all remember Ivan Pace from Cincinnati. He ended up being an outstanding linebacker with the Minnesota Vikings. I remember that draft, and I was begging the Raiders for like 4 straight rounds. Take Ivan Pace, take Ivan Pace, take Ivan Pace. If you like Ivan Pace, I think you're going to love what you're about to hear about Torrey and York. And because I know the Raiders just need some of that extra linebacker depth, Jamal Adams, Devin White, Landon Roberts, John Raddington, yes, the John Raddington, Malcolm Kuntz, all these players for us, they're all free agents, and we need to be able to figure out how to replace that linebacker room. So I saw Ivan Pace, and that was enough for me to say that's a guy that I'm willing to take at pick 134. York is a defensive quarterback who aligns the front and leads by example with all-day urgency. He's compact with thick thighs, good play strength, but struggles to hold up against shed climbing blocks that find him. His short area movement is choppy, but efficient with quick acceleration to chase outside runs, but he lacks sustained speed. He's a consistent trigger and close mode, but needs better diagnostic patience to avoid missed run fits. He will struggle holding up in man coverage. Linebacker with York's size, length, typically face uphill roster climbs, but his tape appears good enough to warrant a backup role with instant special teams value. That write-up also very much so reminds me of, oh my God, what's his name? The guy that just signed a new extension in Seattle. He was a Raiders UDFA at Drake Thomas. Like, I think sometimes just people overlook the size. And when you turn on the tape, if a guy's just always around the football, if you're going to compare a guy to Ivan Pace was always around the football at Cincinnati. Drake Thomas, always around the football in Seattle. And to me, that's kind of how I viewed this type of player. Instant special teams guy, can help you out instantly at that linebacker position. And just sounds like an overall really good football player. Decided to go with him at 134. Now, I know some of y'all are probably like, holy shit, Mitch, we didn't go wide receiver. You're 100% right. But in my mind, because I went Mendoza, because I went Vega at pick 1 and 14, that's 2 offensive players. I mean, I decided to really load up on defense. Defensive tackle, linebacker, edge, cornerback, linebacker were my next 5 picks there. So, to me, in this mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders, they better have added a wide receiver in NFL free agency. You better have figured out a way to go get somebody because we need a true number 1. Because the guy that I'm going to go with here at pick 175 in the 5th round, I'm going to go with Tyron Montgomery. And he's a receiver from John Carroll. Chugs has really been hyping him up to me. But this is also somebody that looked really, really good at the Senior Bowl. And if you don't know, he played, again, D3 division football. So D3 division football, people want to, take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But to me, a lot of the receivers that were around the round 4, round 5, I didn't really look at them as prototypical X's. And I know John Spytek at the Combine was like, oh, X's don't grow on trees. And I'm not saying that Montgomery is going to be like our number 1 by any stretch of the imagination, but can he compete for that wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 spot? Because I'm going to read the write-up from NFL Draft Buzz. It is interesting. He's an older rookie, 25 years old, which might scare some people away. But the tape, the numbers are very, very impressive. And then also, on top of that, I want to get you the exact numbers because the numbers he put up last season are redunculous. It was... Oh, dude, this is brutal. I should have known. Hang on. One sec. This is brutal. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still waking up. I literally typed in John Carroll stats. All right, so his stats from this I can't just get cumulative stats. Holy hell. This is tough to find. Wow, these are pretty crazy numbers. All right, so we're talking about 119 catches, 1,528 yards, 15 touchdowns. I mean, again, I know it's D3. For a guy who played D3 baseball, I know it's very, very much different. But what's more impressive here is look up what he did at the Senior Bowl, and he held his own. When a guy plays D3 and then you also hold up your own, that speaks volumes to me. So here's just a quick little summary of what they had to say about him. Montgomery is one of those prospects who will split rooms on draft boards, and rightfully so. The tape from John Carroll is electric. You watch the contested catches, the body control, the way he high points footballs, comes down with them in traffic, and you're going to see real NFL skill set. His Senior Bowl week confirmed that he's got the athleticism and ball skills are not just a product of beating up undersized D3 corners. He went toe-to-toe with legitimate defensive back prospects and won more than his share of reps. That counts for something. The basketball background shows up for how he attacks the football at his highest point, and there is genuine explosion in his movement that you cannot teach. So when you think about a player that the Raiders need at wide receiver, I need a guy that's got, just a little bit of extra size. And I sound awful right now, and I apologize, guys. But 5'11", 190, I would have liked for him to be a little bit bigger. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But I saw this round 5. We needed an extra wide receiver. I think of a guy coming from D3. He's going to fight. He's going to claw. And I need a fight and claw to try to get the most out of a guy like Shedrick Jackson, to get the most out of a guy like Dante Thornton Jr. And to me, Tyron Montgomery is a good player to really light a fire, I think, under those two players' butts, because if we can get the most out of Shedrick, and if we can get that Dante Thornton Jr. that we saw week 1 against the New England Patriots, watch out. Tyron Montgomery, I'm going to say it, would be a good player to help the Raiders compete in that wide receiver room. I know, disgusting. Let's go to the 6th round here. Pick 181. We still got 3 picks left to go. It's going to be a long video. Hopefully you guys don't mind. I know the Raiders re-signed Will Putnam, but this was just a pick to me, again, based on value, based on character, based on Fernando Mendoza connection. I decided to go with center Pat Coogan. He was a team captain at Indiana. All the Indiana players, the Raiders also met with him at the NFL Combine. 6'5", 311-pounder. And to me, this is kind of your Jordan Meredith replacement in a way. Somebody who can probably play center, can probably line up also as a guard. Just because also you tender a player like Will Putnam doesn't mean that you're absolutely positively going to keep him. I think Pat Coogan instantly steps into that offensive line room, provides really, really good competition, really, really good depth. And I think it also just helps out Fernando Mendoza, bring in somebody like that he knows, that he's accustomed to. And the other reason why I did this is if the Raiders are serious about, potentially bringing in another quarterback, and if they're serious about letting that vet, get the reps in, I kind of like the idea of Coogan being that backup center, which that means Mendoza can work with the guy that he's been working with if he is taking those number 2 reps, and then that allows our number 1 center to take it with the top quarterback. Again, we're splitting hairs here, but Coogan is a veteran center with good size, intelligence, communication skills, and leadership that will appeal to the offensive line coaches. Love hearing that. Technically sound and consistent in centering opponents while latching in with grip strength to increase stickiness. His best in gap scheme and inside zone, which really helps us out with Klint Kubiak, but his effectiveness can fade when the job stretches beyond the A-gap. In protection, he lands well-timed punches and utilizes instinctive hand resets to regain positioning. However, forward lean, shorter arms would invite counters. Coogan has the potential to become a starter, but there are limitations in his game and make scheme fit and protection help important. I don't really think that he's going to be available to y'all or us here in the 6th round, but again, if he's available to me in this PFF mock, I am going to just end up taking him. It's funny, PFF gave me a C grade for getting Pat Coogan at 181. You bet my word right now, Pat Coogan goes probably 30 picks before that in the actual NFL draft. Mark my words, PFF, you're going to be a little bit wrong on that one. So we got now, let's go to pick 184. It's our 2nd pick here in the 6th round. This is another player that I've taken in multiple mock drafts before. One of the positions when I looked through this, I'm like, we're missing. It's a safety. There's the safety options. I think there's more like box strong safeties. I do have a video. I filmed it a few days ago on the top safeties that I want the Raiders and top DBs that I want the Raiders to go out and pursue. Spoiler alert, you're going to see Cam Curl in that vid. That's how long ago I did it. But with all the news, the video keeps getting pushed back. It's probably going to go out either tonight or I'll probably push that video out tomorrow. It's still TBD. But the Raiders need a free safety. I think letting Jeremy Chin and letting Isaiah Paul-Mal like play strong safety, like let Jeremy Chin play strong safety, linebacker hybrid, almost kind of like it's the truth, but I mean, Cam Chancellor, the way that he played defense, I think really makes sense for this Raiders team. And then Isaiah Paul-Mal, like let Isaiah Paul-Mal play strong safety up near the box, like let him do what he did his first 2 years in the NFL. Because the third year, you played him at free safety, and he's just not a free safety. It's not fair to Isaiah. So what I decided to do here is I'm going to draft a safety. USC, Bishop Fitzgerald. I've taken him in a bunch of mocks, but I just love the value. I love the production. He's a true ball hawk. I want to say he had 6 interceptions last season for the Trojans, 5'11", 201 pounds. I think that what he does fits really well with what we have. Because, again, like we don't have a lot of safety depth. Right now, all we have is Tristan McCullum. We have Bishop Fitzgerald now, and then we have, Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Paul-Mal. But just listen to this write-up and tell me this doesn't sound like a safety that we do need for more depth. Compact, ball-hawking safety prospect with alignment versatility. Fitzgerald's consistency of execution is quite different in coverage versus run support. I'll tell you this right now, he's not a good run defender. In coverage, he is assigned-oriented, displaying an adequate mix of route balance and response quickness. He's clear-eyed to recognize takeaway opportunities and has the ball skills to flip the field. He can match underneath, but not have the speed to stay in the phase if the route travels deep. As a run defender, Fitzgerald plays with urgency, but issues diagnosing the play and suspect pursuit angles to have lead to chunk runs, creating an imbalance that impacts his draft grade. So the numbers from a draft standpoint are like, again, going to jump off the board. He's a good athlete. 33-inch vert is, I'd say, okay. But the 4.55 40-yard dash is, I would say, a little bit slower than what I would want in a true free safety. But again, he's got the production. He's got ball hawking. You can tell he's a smart player. And I would say he would be a very interesting pick here. And round 6, 184. The only problem with this pick is I typically like my safeties to be able to show you that they can have some help in production and special teams. You don't want Bishop Fitzgerald playing special teams. I promise you that. Let's round out my Raiders mock draft here after the Maxx Crosby trade. And the final pick at 219, I'm going to go with tight end, fullback hybrid, Riley Nowakowski from Indiana. I thought about going with a running back, and I've gone with a lot of running backs because I do believe that the silver and black will add a running back in the draft. But also at the same point, if Klint Kubiak, and if you guys didn't see the video that I did earlier in the week, I did my top 10 running backs that I want the Raiders to pursue to be like kind of that Rodman to Ashton Genty's Batman. And from what it sounds like, the Raiders are going to be a team that goes out and adds a running back. But I also know that this is an organization that wants a fullback. And I had the opportunity to talk to Riley Nowakowski at the NFL Combine, and he told me that he's played tight end for 3 years. He also told me he played fullback. He told me he would love the opportunity to be in a Kyle Juszczyk style role with Klint Kubiak, with Fernando Mendoza. Told me that Fernando's the greatest quarterback that he's ever played with, that he would love the opportunity. If you want to see the video on Riley, it is on my social media, at Mitchell Renz 365. It's also on the Raiders Report YouTube channel. Heck, if you want to see the question that Fernando Mendoza answered to me, you can see that on the channel. But Riley Nowakowski to me just came off as this like outstanding human, outstanding leader, unselfish football player. But I'm kind of killing 2 birds here with 1 stone. And what do I mean by that? The Raiders need a tight end 3. Yes, you have Albert O, who does have some Klint Kubiak ties from 2022 when Kubiak was with Denver. But you got Brock Bowers, he's your 1. Michael Mayer's your 2. Tight end 3 here could be Riley Nowakowski. He could also fill that fullback role. Because this team, again, has just so many holes on it from top to bottom, finding a player here in round 7 that can kind of play fullback and tight end 3 that has a connection to Fernando Mendoza that would love the opportunity to play that role was just, something for me that I was just going to take, and you're going to love the write-up on him. Like, this is the type of guy that you take in round 7. Nowakowski's focus on the task never wavers. He's reliable and tough at the point of attack and holds up well in pass protection. He lacks height and length, but is well built and plays with better technique, strain, and finish than many offensive linemen in this class. He became a productive pass catcher in 2025, but he could struggle to separate or win the seam against NFL man coverage. His character and work ethic are outstanding, and he should help elevate run game execution wherever an offense lines him up. That sounds exactly like what the Raiders need in the 7th round, which is why I decided to go with Riley Nowakowski. So, my first Raiders mock draft after the Maxx Crosby trade, already over 40 minutes long. Hopefully you guys don't mind a marathon of a show today. In round 1, Fernando Mendoza. Also in round 1 at pick 14, Vega Ioane, and I hope I pronounced that name right, offensive guard for Penn State. We're going to bolster up those trenches. Lee Hunter, defensive tackle from Texas Tech in round 2, pick 36. Round 3, pick 67, linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. Round 4, 102, edge LT Overton, Alabama. Round 4, 117, cornerback Texas, Malik Muhammad. Round 4, 134, linebacker Texas A&M, Torian York. Round 5, 175, wide receiver from John Carroll, Tyron Montgomery. Round 6, 182, center Pat Coogan from Indiana. Round 6, 185, safety from USC, Bishop Fitzgerald. And round 7, pick 218, Riley Nowakowski, tight end, fullback hybrid from Indiana. Grade my mock draft A, B, C, D, or F. Please be honest with me. If I'm going to say this, and again, I always give my honest grades, this is the best mock draft I personally think I've done all off season long. This to me is A grade in my book. I love the fact that we get a lot of starters, I would say, on the defensive side of the football. I think our offense is going to be just going with Vega and Fernando. I like the pieces that I get very, very late here in Pat Coogan, Bishop Fitzgerald, Riley Nowakowski. I think all those moves make a lot of sense. Again, I've given myself C grades before on mock drafts. I've given myself lower grades than that because at the end of the day, like, I want y'all to honestly know how I feel, because there's a lot of times when I do a mock, I'll just try to do different things because I don't want you guys just to see the same thing over and over and over again. But this is a mock that I like a lot. Doesn't mean that you have to give me a high grade. What I am going to say is this. If you made it this far in the video, just please go on down, give me your God-honest answer on this grade. And like I said, I'm going to try to do my best to get you guys some draft targets at pick 14. I will try to do it today, but then again, I'm just, it's probably going to end up being tomorrow. So don't get too mad at me. I wanted to get you guys some graphics. I want to be able to get you looking a little bit more professional. We'll see what ends up happening. But no matter what, thank you guys so much for always tuning in. I know this was a long video. I know, again, I'm not at the Chat Sports Studios. But in my mind, I would have woke up this morning as a Raiders fan looking for a brand new Raiders mock draft after the Maxx Crosby trade. I'm a fan just like all of y'all. That's how I do this show. And hopefully you appreciated my latest Raiders mock draft. For more updates around the Raiders, hit that subscribe button. I mean, if you watch 42 minutes of this video and you're not subscribed, I mean, get a life. What are we doing here? No, I'm just kidding. If you want even more content from me, though, you can check out one of these 2 videos right here. I promise you, no matter what, I'm going to do my best. Always keep you guys up to date. News, rumors, doesn't matter what time of the day is. We can focus on free agency. We can focus on the draft. I'm going to be live for probably over 30 hours next week. So please stay tuned on the Raiders Report.